there, everyone. It is I, Baby Crone, and I'm here to share with you guys today something a little bit different, but we're still covering houses today, except in this video we're going to be covering the 4th and the 6th house. Now you're probably like, Baby Crone, why'd you skip the 5th house? Well, today's houses have nothing in them, as in they are planetless, so therefore there's not much to say about them besides what zodiac signs are housing them, and that's why we are going to combine them today in the same video. And because of that, I wanted to talk about how to read your birth chart, because I say in the I always title this Breaking Down Kim Kardashian's Birth Chart, and I started this off to teach you guys, as I always say at the end of the video, to learn about yourselves and break down your natal chart at home. However, I understand that you're not going to have the same zodiac signs and planets as Kim Kardashian, and I do understand that there's not going to be the same aspects that I'm talking about in these houses, so therefore it's a person-to-person base. But as you're going through this video, through this series of breaking down the house, hopefully you catch on to the pattern of starting, because I do it in the same format, where I look at the zodiac sign in the house, and then I look at the planets, and then after talking about the house, of course, because you have to, I feel like this is the best way I can break it down and trying to make sense, because you start from the big picture, which is the house, and then what's next to the house that you see outside on the skirts that move around the zodiac wheel is the zodiac signs. And then inside of those, you have planets that travel with the zodiac signs as they move through the houses. So I took it from big picture to small picture, and then summing it all up together by telling you what does it mean to have this particular zodiac sign and planet in this house in particular. Because I keep it general. So that way, if you have, for example, in this video, we're going to be talking about Aries. If you have Aries, let's say in your 8th house, well, I'm going to tell you what Aries means, and later on when we get to the 8th house, you can look back at this video, I know, or take notes down. Be like, okay, when she gets to this house, we're going to learn about what does Aries mean in this house, the 8th house. But of course, I'm not going to be explaining what Aries means in the 8th house, because Kim Kardashian does not have Aries in the 8th house. However, if you follow the pattern of breaking down what the zodiac sign means and what the house means and putting it together, basically taking 2 and 2 and making one, like Scrabble. You got all this, if you've ever played Scrabble, you have all these words jumbled up like 7 letters, and then you are looking to see if you can make words out of them. That's basically what astrology is. So if you want to, because we're just talking about zodiac signs today, you can refer back to this video where I talk about, well, these 2 videos where I talk about all 12 zodiac signs, so that way you can get a refresher on what zodiac signs mean as we move through the houses, so that way when I'm on the 4th and 6th house, you can see what zodiac sign is in those houses of yours, and then break it down along with me if you want to, as like a little teaching lesson. And then also if you want to, because, well, I'm breaking down each house, but if you want to, you can refer to this video where I talk about what the houses mean. So therefore, if you want to get a little head start and look, or if you want to like review, because we're up, because once I cover the 5th house, we've literally been through 6 houses, so we're halfway through the houses and halfway through the lesson. So therefore, if you want to go back and look at your house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then figure out what zodiac signs are in there, you can figure out how to start breaking those down. And then of course, even though there's no planets in here, you refer back to this video where I talk about the planets, and therefore if you want to, you can try to figure out how these qualities of that planet works in this specific house that we're looking at, and therefore that's another way you can break down your chart while following along, even though you don't have the same exact zodiac signs and house and planet placements as Kim Kardashian's houses as we move through the houses. Hopefully you guys are enjoying breaking down your birth chart while we read through Kim Kardashian's birth chart because, man, is it fun learning about Kim Kardashian every day. So, wow, sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. So funny, we were just talking about technology in the third house with Aquarius. However, the fourth house of Kim Kardashian. So this is what Kim Kardashian's fourth house looks like. And as some people might say in astrology, you have an empty house. And that just basically means you don't have a planet occupying this house. And that is simply because there's 12 planets, including the sun and moon, because they are planets, but really those are called luminaries because they emit light or reflect light in the moon's case. So therefore, it's hard to have them all have one planet in like one house, because if that was the case, you would have a planet in every house. However, depending on how they're moving and scattered in the literal universe around us, it's determined on how they're placed in the zodiac wheel. So that's why some houses just might be empty, and why you might just have, if you're, I'm not sure if you would call it unlucky, but if you just happen to have like 3 or 4 empty houses, you just have your planets concentrated in one area. And really all a planet does is that means you are consciously putting energy into this specific area of your life. This house is a specific area of your life. 12 specific areas in your life that makes us human, and some people just put more energy into others depending on where your planets are placed. So for Kim Kardashian in her fourth house, well, here the fourth house is at the bottom of the chart because it represents, actually sadly I cut out the IC, which will be right here, because the fourth house, this is, if you can see, there's a black line, thick line right here, and that represents the IC, or the ilium coolei, which means the bottom of the sky. So that is more, even though it's in between the third and fourth house, the bottom of the chart, or the IC, is really for the fourth house, and you're about to find out why. Because the fourth house is all about your spiritual roots and your family roots. And what is at the roots? If you think of a tree, you got roots growing out of a tree, and that grounds you in the physical world. And the roots just also happen to be at the bottom. So this is what the fourth house represents, and also throwing a little bit of numerology in there. The fourth house represents foundation, and when you start from the foundation, you got to build from the bottom up to create a foundation. So the fourth house represents what foundation Kim Kardashian has, or you have, for example. Well, we all have, because we all come from spiritual roots, whether we are in tune to them or not, and we all come from physical roots because we're on this planet. So, to look at this a little bit further, so when you look at the fourth house, you're looking at where your childhood. This is because we're still talking about growing and developing through life, and your childhood represents how did your family raise you outside of the third house, your community. The fourth house being strictly what was your home environment. Like, for example, I am filming at my house, so what would, well, I share the house with my parents, but I'm in my parents' house, and this is our home that we share together, and therefore I was raised in this home, not this specific home, but with this family, and therefore their points of views and how they raised me is going to affect me on how I am today. You're seeing a product of my fourth house and how I was raised. This isn't my fourth house, this is Kim Kardashian, but that's a way to put the fourth house into perspective for you. And I like to think about, because I love psychology, think about the nature versus nurture. Well, that's literally your fourth house. And to answer this question, because I like to bring this up, there's really no difference between nature versus nurture. They're both having an influence on you, and the fourth house clears up that debate. Why? Because the nature part is your inside, your spiritual roots. That's just innate and comes with you naturally. And your Nurture is your physical family that nurtured you in this physical world. So therefore so really you're not born as a blank slate, because you are a spirit housed inside a body. And this spirit or energy comes from somewhere and has a past. If you remember from the previous episode in the third house, he was talking about past lives because of the South Node. So your spirit or energy is coming from somewhere, so therefore it's going to have a personality, but your personality is going to get shaped throughout life based off of this nurture. So therefore, nature versus nurture, it's one, in my opinion. So the zodiac sign that has all the influence on Kim Kardashian's first house is an Aries, which is very fitting, because if you see her, her family is a very strong family, and they literally, if you think about it, we're in spring, and my analogy is pop their way to the top with all this forceful energy. They're like a family to fear, and because they're just very dominant. So something to know about the Aries. So as I'm going to be talking, I'm just going to be relating to this on how Kim Kardashian grew up, or how her home environment has affected her, because it's all Aries, baby. Because there's no planets, remember? So therefore her influence in her home family, this is what her home life was like. That's just a part of her life. There wasn't like a planet in there to make it like significant. It's just a part of her life that she was growing up in. And her family, as I said, is very impactful and impressionate, and have a very impactful impression, because as I talked about in the last episode, her father is very famous for the OJ trials. And then her family has Caitlyn Jenner. Then the Kardashians are moguls. They have businesses. They're like at the very top. They're making fraud at the same time, but we're not going to talk about that. Not saying Aries are frauds, but sometimes when you try to like make those quick decisions, you want to get what you want, and you're like strong and powerful, you can use that energy to get your advantage, because as an Aries, you want to, when you're starting spring, it's hard to penetrate the ground. So if you want to be noticed and flourish, you have to, as an Aries with the ram, you have to headbutt and be strong and push your way through in life to be noticed. And you know what? That is something, as I said, there's no planet in the house, so whatever zodiac sign is in there affects the house. So for Kim Kardashian, with her family dynamics, she grew up, she could have grown up in a competitive household. That would make sense. She had a lot of siblings. And I hear when you have a lot of siblings, you have to compete for attention. This is very dated from my generation, but if you think of Stuck in the Middle, where there was 7 kids and we had the middle child that just went unnoticed. Kim Kardashian's not a middle child, but having a big family means that your parents can't focus all their energy on everybody. It's going to be hard for the parents to give all their attention equally to so many children. So sometimes you're going to have to be a bit more bold, or a bit more louder, or compete against your other siblings to get the attention. We know Kim loves attention. So this is where she learned to get her attention and have the, ooh, me, notice me kind of energy, because she had to grow up in that kind of family where she wanted to get the attention, so she had to be dramatic sometimes to get her family, to get like the attention of her mother or father or whoever she wanted attention from. And when you have siblings, they're very strong, and if they're competitive and you want something that they want, then therefore you're going to try to compete with them. I mean, siblings naturally have competitiveness inside of them, so it only makes sense for that competitiveness to carry her out through life. And why also that might show why she has some of her siblings, like Courtney, because they just don't mix very well. But in a spiritual aspect, because the 4th house, as I said, is your nature and your spiritual side and what you or grown or born with, basically, is that she has a very strong spirit, and she's able to use the energy and use the benefits that her family has given her to make her way in life. So she, as you see, she did not waste it. She made it her way to the top, and her mom even helped her with making a tape to get her to the top. So she has very strong family roots and is very family oriented, and she even says it. So she takes family very serious, and she uses her family to her advantage. Yep, she even uses her children to her advantage because she sees the potential in them, and she's like, I'm gonna use that energy. So that's pretty much how the 4th house goes for Kim Kardashian. And now we're going to be moving over to the 6th house. So here we are with the 6th house. And this is what the 6th house looks for Kim Kardashian. She has 2 zodiac signs in there. So therefore, these 2 zodiac signs are going to be the 2 that have Gemini and Taurus are going to have the influence on her 6th house. And I have the DC, so this means descending. And as you see, this thick line right here, this thick black line represents the horizon line. So therefore, once we go from 6, we're going to be at the 7th house, and we're going to be up on the top of the chart versus the bottom of the chart where we've been looking at. Just a little note, even though we're going to be moving back a little bit to talk about the 5th house before moving to the 7th house. However, the 6th house represents your daily routines. Rather, that's like literally anything that's a daily ritual. How you maintain your health, going to school, going to work. A hobby that you do on a daily basis, like let's say you're an artist, and even though you don't have a career out of it, it's like a hobby that you do on a day-to-day routine, something that you practice every day, like a musician. Things like this, or another good way to put it is a habit. Because like they say, do something for 30 days, it becomes a habit. Well, that's very true, because if you're doing it for 30 days, you're doing it daily, and therefore it becomes your daily routine, which is a 6th house quality. So if you want to change your routine, you got to look at your 6th house. And also, the 6th house represents one of the health houses. Because of daily routine, think about daily maintenance. How do you maintain your body? What do you feed your body every day? Do you work out your body every day? These kinds of things. And to be able to understand that, that's the last part of understanding your physical body. Well, not really, but because we're below the horizon, this house 1 through 6 is personal, and then houses 7 through 12 is directed towards the outside world. Unless you just happen to have your qualities. As you see, Kim is just focused upon the outside world no matter where we're looking at in her chart, and that's just how it's oriented. So her 6th house and daily routines are broken up between Taurus and Gemini. So to explain, Taurus is an earth sign, and they are all about leisures. And think about it, when you've worked really hard, you get to lay back, enjoy the leisures, have a grape fed to you from a vine. That's what Kim lives, because she got off her and worked, like she says, which goes a little bit to Gemini about work, 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 chat, 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 do. That's all Kim does in her daily life, and she can get bored of it. However, she doesn't really get bored of it, because she gets to enjoy the beauty and works of her hard labor that she puts into daily. And because of this, she's patient, even though it is hard work and draining to constantly be sharing ideas going to Gemini. I'm flipping back and forth between Taurus and Gemini. But if you want, you can follow the slide as I jump back and forth. So as she's communicating these ideas, and Gemini is all about fast communication. So very fitting for Aries, right from the 4th house. Fast pace. Gotta always do something fast. Gotta keep going. Gotta keep moving. Gotta keep doing this. Gotta do that. Gotta do this. Gotta do that. Gotta do this. Gotta do that. That's Kim. Just all over the place, because she wants to enjoy the hard work that she's putting in to her public image, her physical body, And then her status, her money, what she gets, her businesses is a daily routine and is a daily upkeep and a daily maintenance for her. And through that, she overcomes the challenges of the work and grind. Even though it may not look like it, she works and grinds for this money, guys. And because of it, she gets to sadly flaunt the work and grind that she has accumulated. Again, no planet, so that means the two zodiac signs have the most influence on her daily routine. So when we look at how Kim approaches the sixth house, how she approaches her daily life, you see that her work ethics is like something she values, because Taurus is all about material gains you get, and these material gains are things that you value because you worked for them. And because you got to work for them, you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, as they say. So her work ethic is, I want to produce something and enjoy it. But as we see in her chart, she doesn't really enjoy what she does. It's actually very stressful for her. And that's probably because she does not get a break, because this is her daily house. So her daily life is constantly in the phone. Her daily life is constantly like, let me sell you this product, guys. Her daily life is constantly like, yeah, I'm here on the camera. I'm just here just sharing with you guys about my feelings today. Her life is constantly walking and enjoying life and getting filmed by the paparazzi. She just cannot get a break from her daily life. So therefore she's constantly making sure her face is looking good, making sure her body is looking good, making sure that what she gets from the public, which is basically selling her body, is looking good. So therefore she can put money back into the body so y'all can give her more money. Poor Kim. This daily routine, that's the cycle. That's why it's daily, because you go to sleep, you work, you go to bed, you wake up, you eat doing this. This is what daily life is, and Kim eats the public's attention daily. That's why you never really see her eat, honestly, because she's too stressed out. But that's just allegedly, but you know. So another thing about being a TV influencer, a reality TV star, an influencer, a businesswoman, a mom, a sister, all these things she has to do. Like, she probably feels like she has no time to do any of this because she loves her family, but she loves the public's attention and she loves that money that she's getting. So she's trying to hold all this in because she wants it all, basically. Greedy a little bit. But you know, that's something that she learned from her family going back to the fourth house. Because Aries, I'm not going to say they're greedy, but as a fast-paced fire sign, when you look at fire, fire consumes as it's going. So if this fire is going rampant, like think of a forest fire, it's like consuming the forest. So that's basically what Kim's life is all about. Everything she puts her energy into, whether it's her family, because her family is honestly her public image. So even with her family, she's just consumed by doing something with her family, whether it's her family she created with her kids or her family by the siblings that she has. This family is always consuming her. She's always putting the energy into it. She's always competing to be the best because she just wants to be the best. Something about Kim, about being on top, that she holds dear and precious to her, probably because she knows when you're at the top, when we get back to the 10th house. Being at the top represents the status, and if the status can give you this, then she's all about it. And I hate to say that Kim's like greedy, money hungry, but when you look at it, she has an earth sign in her 6th house, which is Taurus, and Taurus rules the 2nd house. And in the 2nd house, I forget what zodiac sign she had in there, but it had to deal with Oh, it was Capricorn that was in the 10th house, which is another earth sign, which is very fitting because it goes back to the 10th house when we talk about later being at the very top. So therefore she sees the pentacle, she sees the money, and Capricorn is another cardinal sign like Aries. So being able to it is just all about Kim making money. How can she make money? How can she sustain the money and keep it flowing in? So that's why you might see her panic a little bit when there might not be something to talk about, because she's just like, oh man, if I'm not relevant, I'm not getting money. If I'm not getting money, I'm not being me. I'm not getting the things I want. It is all about what she wants, because she wants to enjoy the leisures that you guys are giving her. And if you guys aren't giving that to her, she's like a fish out of water. She's just like, I don't know what to do. Poor Kim. And with that being said, we will see you guys. I will see you guys. Wow, I said that like I was here with Kim. I will see you guys in the next video to talk about the 5th house, because, oh, very fitting. The 5th house is all about having fun and creating things and having fun with the things you create. So we'll see how Kim feels in her 5th house. And with that being said, actually, she's stressed in her 5th house, as you guys will see when I go to talk about it. So with that being said, please enjoy please enjoy and do not stay stressed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, sunflowers.